You want to say hi, Mia? You want to say hi? You want to talk about saving money and personal finance techniques? What's that? Hanging out with Mia right now. In this video, I want to talk about the 3-step process I took to start saving money and being what I'm going to call more financially responsible. Because in general, the goal, and it sounds almost too captain obvious to say, almost stupid to say, but I have to mention it. The goal isn't to make more money, it's to have more money. Now on this channel, I show you all my earnings and all this kind of stuff. And ignoring taxes, to make math very simple, if I, let's say, at the end of the year, make 50K, and I spent 25K of that, well, I'm netting $25,000, right? How much I made minus how much money I spent. Pretty simple math. But if I make $100,000 in a year, again, ignoring taxes, just make things easy, and I spend $90,000, and I'm not the best with money, I'm netting only 10K. So remember, the goal isn't necessarily to make more money, it's to have more money. And I have had some people comment on this channel saying, hey Mark, you do a lot of accounting videos, you talk a lot about accounting, you talk a lot about how much you're earning, but what about how much you're spending? So let's get into these 3 things that I've done to be better with my spending habits. And I think that's a big thing. The first thing is what I'm going to call the foundational monthly expenses. That's the first thing I say to a lot of people to calculate. When I'm giving personal finance advice, and I'll stress, I'm a former accountant, but I'm not your accountant. I always like to say that. But the first thing I do, and I suggest to a lot of people, sit down and say, okay, what are the almost potentially fixed expenses that every month I have to spend? The big 4, technically 5, I say to a lot of people is 1, typically your car payment. I feel like your car payment, unless you already paid off your car, well, let's say you don't have one or need one, let's say you're in New York, for example, maybe that's your Metro Pass, but basically transportation. I think that's a big thing that people need having a job. To me, that's an absolute necessity. Second thing, car insurance. Of course, very important. Make sure you have car insurance. Third thing, and this is a big one, cell phone. Some people, again, may argue this, but I think in this day and age, when it comes to having a job, just in general, being a person, I think a cell phone is a necessity. Fourth thing, lodging. So basically rent and utilities. And I know for some people, your utilities may fluctuate. Like right now it's getting pretty cold. So maybe your heating bill will go up. So yes, maybe your utilities will kind of fluctuate, but usually there's a spectrum, as most of you know. The 5th one, and this is one that I personally include just because it's fixed. It happens every month, like clockwork. And I also feel like it's something that you can't live without, a gym membership. So those are the big 5. So the first thing I do when it comes to helping somebody out with their finances, or what I did for myself when really trying to get good at, especially when I was a starving musician and trying to make it on YouTube and make my DJing work and electronic music, is I said, okay, what is the minimum amount I know I'm gonna have to spend every month no matter what? And those 5 things are my car payment, car insurance, cell phone bill, rent and utilities, basically lodging, and gym membership. I'm going to total up those 5. And again, this depends on every single person. Let's say it's, I'm making those up. Let's say it comes to, depends, I guess, where you live. So this could be very, very variable. I think when I first did the math out, when I was living in Boston, I think it came out to be, $1,500. This is back in 2012, so I want to stress this a while ago. I think it was, my rent was like $860 with utilities, usually came in about $1,000. And then $500 for my car payment, car insurance, cell phone bill, and gym. So basically, my math came out to be $1,500. That's what I was like, okay, no matter what, I have to make at least $1,500. And I think that's a good perspective to have. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, what about food? What about this? What about that? In my mind, and again, I know this is not the smartest thinking, so of course, be safe here, right? Of course, I do have to stress this point. In my mind, food was like, okay, it's gonna be variable. Maybe some months I don't eat a lot. Maybe some months I do eat a lot. Maybe, I cut back and this, and I will talk about in a second. But I think the first thing to really figure out is how much money do you know you have to spend every month that's fixed, and maybe raise it a little bit. So let's say with rent, utilities, and blah, 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 it comes out to be, I don't know, because again, this is years later from when I was in Boston and inflation. Let's say it comes out to be $2,350. I'm just making, let's say $2,350. Rounded to $2,400. Like say there's one month where you use the AC more than you typically do, or the heat, more electricity. So you raise it from $2,350, let's say $24. That means no matter what, you have to at least spend $2,400. And I think it's a good perspective to have because that means when you're like, say, trying to save money and not spend that much, you're like, okay, this is my minimum threshold. Everything above that, I don't want to say is optional, but is going to be a bit of a spectrum and a bit more variable. How much money you're going to spend on food, gas, for example, all these kind of things. But it makes it important to, one, figure out what is your foundational monthly income. Second thing, and I know this is a bit of like personal finance 101, but sometimes cliches are cliches for a reason. For a week, 2 weeks, if you want to go all out, maybe even a month, track every little time you spend money to the cent. Now, the goal of this, I'm going to be honest, the goal of this isn't necessarily to let you realize or make you realize in a cognizant way, like, oh man, like, here's how much money I spend on this or this or this. The goal is to make you aware any single time you spend money. In a similar way, when people come to me and they want to, say, lose weight, build muscle, or get good at working out, or start working out, I say your goal is for Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, to walk 5 minutes. That's your initial starting point. And a lot of people are like, wait a minute, no, I want to gain muscle. I want to start going to the gym. And I say, no. The goal of that isn't because you're going to shed those pounds off with 5 minutes of walking. Although I will say, as a side note, walking is very underrated. The goal is to train your mind to be like, look, it's Tuesday, I have to work out today. Even if it's a 5-minute walk, your goal is to kind of start integrating it with the way you start viewing fitness, with the way you view working out, with the way you view being healthy, all this kind of stuff, right? So the second I say to a lot of people is for maybe 1 month, track every single little time you spend money on your notes app on your phone, maybe bring a piece of paper around. And what it's gonna start doing is make you very hyper aware any single time you spend money. Like, it could be very easy. I know this is the most cliche thing, which is kind of annoying, so I apologize. But, making coffee at home versus making it when going out. I mean, there are some times, especially now, which is crazy. I feel like cold brews, I love cold brew, by the way. Super overpriced now. Like, the last time I got a cold brew, it literally came, because I gave a tip and all that kind of stuff, $7.50. And we're thinking, like, wait a minute, $7.50, like, that's crazy. If I get that 5 times a week, that's literally like $30 just gone. And it's like, excuse me, more than that. It's about almost $40 just gone, which equals, like, say 4 weeks in a month, $160 just right there. And I think the problem is sometimes when people spend money, one, you do it without thinking. You're just like, oh yeah, I'll just get $7.50, man, that's a lot. And then you just move past it. It becomes a reflex in a negative way. And then the second thing is I think a lot of people, when it comes to spending money, sometimes look at it as a one-off. They're like, oh, well, I'm busy today, I'm out, fine, I'll grab the cold brew. But you might not realize that you've done that 4 times this week already. And I know saying the coffee example is one small thing, but by tracking your expenses for, like, say, 1 week or 2 weeks, or maybe, again, I think a month is a good thing, it really trains you to be like, wait a minute, am I going to spend $7.50 on another cold brew when I literally have coffee at home? Like, I'm a 5-minute drive from my house. Like, it starts to put you in the mindset of not only how you're spending money, but it makes you more hyper aware that you are spending money. And that's a big, big, big good mental shift to have. And then the third thing that I do when it comes to saving money, being better, again, because the goal isn't to make more money, although it is, you want to make more money, but to have more money is, and this is kind of like a fun thing that I do. So again, some of this may be a little stressful, especially tracking every little expense, but try to reframe it and look at it as a fun thing. So this is something that I do is any single time I spend money, let's say you're tracking it for that month. The third thing I do is, how can I save money on this? And yes, there is a point to be said of stress and mental health in terms of, like, you want to be like hyper aware of, like, oh my God, this coffee's $4, but across the street, I think it's $3.90. If I go, like, so sometimes it can get a little too hyper aware where you're almost too fixated, and sometimes that, cannot be the best thing. But in a fun game, what I did for a period of time is I asked myself, any single time I bought something, is there a way I can get this cheaper? Is there a way I can get it cheaper while preserving the same quality? Or is quality as important? I remember, because about when I was going out with friends, again, this is in 2012, 2013 in Boston, and I barely had any money, I'd be like, okay, let me buy, like, vodka, because it's the cheapest alcohol, right? And then I started trying to calculate what's the cheapest way for me to get, like, almost like beer math. the cheapest way for me to get vodka. But then I also realized with vodka, the difference between like a low shelf vodka to a mid shelf isn't as much as you think. With tequila, it's bigger. So I'm like, okay, if I'm spending money on a cheap vodka versus spending that $5 or $10 for, like, say, a mid shelf vodka, I'm actually not getting as much of an ROI. With tequila, it's a little different, right? So again, this is where I started to look at everything. Every single time I spent money, and even sometimes now, I say to myself, like, wait a minute, can this be cheaper? One. Two, obviously, usually there is a cheaper alternative, but can I preserve the same quality? For me, I have no problem spending an upcharge, for example, right now, when it comes to supplements. And these supplement more, in case you didn't know, and this is like a huge issue, roughly about 70% of the products or supplements on Amazon don't even contain the supplement they say they contain. I'm not talking about a little bit of it. They just don't contain it at all. So you may be wondering, like, wait, so if I buy vitamin D on Amazon, what am I really getting, right? So this is why I'm very, very picky about supplement companies. I have no problem spending an upcharge because, yeah, there might be cheaper alternatives, but the quality is a huge issue. And then the third thing, kind of going along with that, is how much do I care about the mental stress, right? If, like say I'm getting gas. I used to use, for example, Gas Buddy or Gas Guru. There's a few different apps. And sometimes I see, wait a minute, okay, between here and here, I need to get gas. And it's a 10-minute drive, but if I go here, and I used to look and be like, okay, well, there's a 5-cent difference. 5-cent difference when it comes to gas. I'm going to put in, let's say, making something up, 10 gallons. When we really look at the big picture, I'm spending time, my mental thought, stress, looking at all these different gas stations to figure out one that's 5 cents cheaper, but it's a 10-minute drive and blah, blah, blah. When, wait a minute, if I'm getting 10 gallons, that's literally 50 cents I'm saving. Is that worth everything I'm doing? In a lot of cases, no. So that is something to be said that I think the last thing I'll say about this is look at it as like a fun game, because it can be very easy. Like, wait, I got to find a cheap alternative that is like, the same quality, blah, blah, blah. But this is kind of a fun thing I like to do, and I started to do because a lot of times you'd be surprised if you do like just a little research. Sometimes just 20 or 30 minutes of research can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the long run. And sometimes it doesn't have to be that much intensive research. Like, take the supplement thing, for example. The big supplement companies I suggest are supplements like Thorne is a big one. Do Not Age is a big one. Pro Health Longevity, I think, is a really good one. There's a couple other ones, but those are ones that I really love. I love Doctor's Best is another big one. So when it comes to that, it was a pretty quick search for me, being like, oh, just buy from Thorne from now on. Just buy from Do Not Age. Just buy from Pro Health Longevity. Boom. Okay, done. It'll be 2 seconds, and in that 2 seconds, like, yes, I will say this, those are more expensive, so maybe not a good example. Those are more expensive than Joe Schmo's supplement, but I know I'm getting a way better product, way better ROI, way better value, and a lot of times you'd be surprised when doing immense amounts of research, or maybe a little research, how much money you can save. And I will say there is something that you have to do a trade-off, and this would say to a lot of people of, your time is worth something. And there's been some times, I'll be honest, where, I remember one time, kind of a weird example, but I was wearing a shirt. I was actually at the Catalina Wine Mixer in Catalina Island. Got this like white shirt for like $20, like an idiot. Spilled a little wine on it. Not enough, but enough where it was noticeable. It was like right here on this white shirt. And I remember trying to wash it using a Tide pen. I bought one of those, I bought all this stuff. I couldn't get it out. 3-4 washes go by. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I've spent like hours trying to get this wine stain out. I've bought Tide pens. I bought OxyClean, all this. I bought all this stuff. If anything, I spent more money and time where I could just bought another shirt. So there is a certain trade-off of your time, but in general, what I always like to do is look at it as a fun game. How can I save more money? There's got to be a cheaper way that still preserves the quality. And usually there is. Now, sometimes it does require a lot of research, like I said. Other times, it might be a literal 5-minute Google search that could save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in the long run. So to recap, in general, like I said, 1, calculate your monthly foundational expenses. I think that's a really good way to look at it, be like, okay, what is the minimum amount I have to spend? And again, maybe this is more for my entrepreneurs, my actors, anyone in the creative field, basically someone pursuing a big dream. Sometimes certain things are like, okay, you know what? I know I have to spend this amount, and now I only have $100 for food left over because I'm really trying to pinch pennies. how can I make that $100 last, right? So the first thing I think is, what is the foundational monthly expenses that you have? Second thing, track everything. Again, I think this makes you more hyper aware that it could also become too much of a reflex to just take out your credit card and tap it. Like sometimes, and every single person is different. For some people, if they have cash on them, sometimes they're less likely to spend that cash. For me, I'm the opposite. I know a lot of people like this too now. I never have cash on me. And the reason why, if I have cash on me, in my mind, it's not hitting my bank account, so I spend it in stupid ways. So I know if I get cash, like say I get a $20 bill for whatever reason, like say a friend's paying me back, I deposit it in the ATM right away. I'm like, I don't want this cash to hit my wallet, so to speak, because I'll think of it as not hitting my bank account, so I'll spend it more stupidly. So again, the second thing is, I think, be more hyper aware. Every single time you spend money, for some people that also means maybe you only use Apple Pay on your phone, because Apple Pay is a more technical thing to do than just taking out your credit card and tapping it, right? So second thing, become more hyper aware, and the easiest way to do that, I think, is track your expenses for, like, say, a month. And then the third thing is assume any single time you're spending money on something, is there a cheaper way where you can still preserve the quality? And almost always, and look at this again as a fun way, almost always there is.